Hey, thank you for chomping the bit. Hopefully, you're having a great day. And it's come up on the weekend, so that means it's week 7 in the NFL. So I'm going to use this episode to once again go through with my predictions for each game. Try to get my record back on track because as it currently stands, I am 44, 49, and 1. Uh, Not sure if I went last. Yeah, I can't remember when I went last week, but um, yeah, still below 500. Trying to, you know, turn that around. I've had a pretty good stretch the past couple of weeks where I've gotten closer to 500. So this week, looking to get over the mark, and I guess head towards getting around 55% by the end of the season, which is what I mean, that's what I was shooting for before the season started. But like I said, start off really slow, starting to gain some traction, but we will see how that goes. But um, yeah, so I guess we should just go ahead and get into it because no reason to wait. But let's start with the first game. It's the Cardinals and no, Cardinals and Saints was on Thursday night, so I did make a prediction for that game over on Pre-Gaming Pigskin over on Spotlight Sports Network. So, normally do Thursday prediction there, and then I kind of do this episode. So for my Thursday night stuff, check me out there. Thursday night, 7 o'clock before Thursday night football game. So the first game we'll talk about on here, Bengals Falcons. So I have Bengals minus 6.5. I think the key thing to look for in this matchup is, well, one, the Falcons, still are they're a better team at home than they are on the road. But I think with the Bengals, we've seen signs of them, come back to life offensively. Joe Mixon, has gotten a little bit better past couple of weeks. The offensive line has looked a little bit better. And especially last week, we saw, Jamar Chase make some big plays in the passing game. So I think that's something that could continue against the Falcons this week. Um, so yeah, I think Cincinnati covers the 6.5. But um, yeah, nothing really else to say about it. The Bengals are the better team, so I believe that they should win this one by at least a touchdown. The next game got the Cowboys versus who the Cowboys playing? The Lions. That's right. So the line is 7. I've got the Cowboys covering this one. I guess the key is going to have to be Dak Prescott. How is he going to look? As it looks like he's progressing to be the starter this week, which means the Cooper Rush, stint is over for the time being. So we'll have to see what Prescott looks like gripping the football because we know he was out with thumb injury. And if he's legitimately healthy and he starts, you know, that gives the offense a different aspect than Cooper Rush has been able to give them. And once again, not to say Cooper Rush did not play well. He did his job. He went 4-1 as a starter. So, the Cowboys, because of that, are still in the hunt for the division, still a playoff team right now. But I think because of that, that may actually put some added pressure on Prescott because if he comes out and doesn't play well, and let's say they get upset by Detroit, then I wonder what Cowboys fans, Jerry Jones, and all of them will be saying about Prescott versus Cooper Rush. I mean, I think Prescott is the better quarterback, but after seeing the past 5 weeks of Cooper Rush, I don't know. Will Cowboys fans be patient if it takes Prescott a game or two to get back into the flow? That's what we'll have to see. Next up, we got Colts, Titans. I'm actually going with the Colts plus 2.5 here, so I'm going with the underdog in this matchup. I mean, neither team has really been all that impressive this season, but I do think the Colts have probably been a little bit more impressive the past couple of weeks. We've seen Alec Pierce really establish himself as a, go-to well, one of the go-to guys in the offense. Matt Ryan still likes to go to Pittman first, but Pierce has been a good complement to him on the other side of the field. Um, with Tennessee, I still haven't bought in, to Tannehill this season. Henry, I've talked about him enough. I mean, he's averaging around 4 yards a carry, which that's like the benchmark measure for running backs to be effective. But I just have a feeling with this one that Matt Ryan, that Colts offense will continue to progress, make enough plays. I think what Shaq Leonard is back for the Colts. So that's a big help for them defensively. And I just think that the Colts will gear up for the run, try to slow down Derrick Henry, force Tannehill to pass. And we know they have Gilmore and those guys back there who, I mean, when they were on primetime TV against the Broncos, they make a couple of plays late. So right now, I just have more faith in the Colts than the Titans. So that's why I'm going Colts plus 2.5. All right, next game got Packers and the Commanders. I'm going with the Packers minus 4.5. I mean, at this point, when it comes to Packers games, I'm like 50-50 on every one of them. Even though they're going against the Commanders team that's not that good, but we've seen this Packers team lose to teams that weren't exactly, you know, well equipped or even good teams, and they're still having their issues offensively. So I think that is something that could keep a team like the Lions in the game, who up until their game against New England, where they were basically shut out. I mean, I know they got couple of field goals in there or whatever. Although they actually did get shut out. Yeah, but up until that point, they're one of the more explosive offenses in the league. So if Detroit can go back to some of that and put points up, I actually wonder. Everybody loves Aaron Rodgers and all the tools that he has, but if Detroit's offense were to revert back to what it was early in the season, I actually don't know if Aaron Rodgers is capable enough to keep up with that. But I'm just going to assume that the trend we saw in New England maybe carries over a little bit, where the offense is scuffling. Maybe it's been shot to their confidence. I don't know, but Detroit definitely has the pieces in place to beat Green Bay. You can run on Green Bay. They have DeAndre Swift. I believe he's playing, but Jared Goff, you can you could definitely make plays on Green Bay. I will say that. Once again, wait, I said DeAndre Swift and Jared Goff. Scratch that. I'm all the Commanders. Some reason had the Lions on the brain. Taylor Heineke is the quarterback I need to be talking about, but Heineke, and you know he's coming into this game, first start of the season. Wentz is out, but Heineke, we have seen he's one of those backup quarterbacks that for a stretch of games can really play well, and would not be surprised if he gets the Washington offense going better than Wentz does. It's something about Heineke. He seems to perform better than people expect him to. But I don't know. I'm just gonna assume with Heineke, his first game, maybe there's a little bit of a rust factor, and that aids Green Bay in squeaking this one out. I mean, with the line being 4.5, I'm inclined to go Green Bay. I think this is going to be probably like a 6-point win for Green Bay, so I'll go with them. But not confident at all. Would not be surprised if Heineke and the Commanders actually beat Green Bay in this one, and then we're gonna see real panic amongst Packer fans at that point. Moving on, Bucks Panthers. Not much you need to say about this one. I got the Bucks minus 13. The Bucks have struggled, but the Panthers, look what they've just gone through over the past couple of weeks. Matt Rule fired as coach. Baker Mayfield hurt now. So we're going to see PJ Walker. They've traded Robbie Anderson away. They traded Christian McCaffrey away. DJ Moore, who knows? He could be gone by the time we get to this game. So, I mean, the Panthers have completely tore it all down, and I just don't know what it's going to look like with PJ Walker this week. So, yes, it's a big line of 13, but I think Brady and crew should get going here. We know there's been a lot of talk about Brady and commitment and all that, but I think he's fine. I think the Bucks will be fine. They're not going to fall too far back in the division because second best team in the division right now is what the Falcons. I don't see them running away with it, of course. So the Bucks still have some time to figure out some of the little lingering issues they have with the team, but I think they get the win here easily. Give me the Bucks minus the 13. Next we have Jacksonville and the Giants. So I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars here. It's interesting that the Jaguars are only 2-4. The Giants are 5-1. Giants are undefeated away from home. For some reason, the Jags come into this one as a favorite. And to be honest with you, I went back and forth about picking the Giants or the Jags in this one because the Giants have been, you gotta say, they've been surprising. They've been impressive in the way that they won some of these games because we know that they're limited both at the wide receiver position. Daniel Jones has been limited some of these games with ankle injuries, but they find ways to pull up the win. Dayball has definitely changed the perception, the culture, all that down there, and they're playing well. I just think Jacksonville in this one. Jacksonville needs this win. I've been saying for the past few weeks that Jacksonville could very easily win this division. And then the past couple weeks, they've kind of stunk it up a little bit. But I have this sneaky suspicion that Travis Etienne has a big game for some reason. Not sure why. I just have a really sneaking suspicion. He has a big game, scores a touchdown or two, and Jacksonville finds a way to get this win, get back to three. Well, not get back, but get to 3-4, and feel a little bit better about themselves. Because I do think the talent is there for Jacksonville. Like I said, win the division. Colts struggling. Texans, we know about them, and Tennessee not that good. Well, not that great. So the division's still up in the air. Next game we got. Who do I have next? Cleveland. Yeah. Browns, Ravens. Interesting matchup. I'm going Cleveland plus the 6.5. Now, I don't think Cleveland wins this game. They shouldn't. Baltimore's the more talented team, but I think Baltimore's going through somewhat of an identity crisis right now. If you check me out on my shows on Spotlight Sports Network, I talked about the fact that in order for Baltimore to be the most successful team it can be, they need to kind of look at the Patriots back in, what was it, 2016, where they were just blowing teams out and people kept crying about running up the score. I actually think if Baltimore took that mentality, they'd be much better off for it because they have great starts to games, great first halves, and then the second half, they try to dial it back and be conservative. And you would think the way Baltimore's built that they would be fine at that, but it seems like they struggle to play conservative ball, and that's when they let teams back in. So until I see them do that, especially with the AFC North, game like this, where when when those teams play each other, weird things happen. The games always seem to be closer than they should be. I think, with Cleveland, they have Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, although Kareem Hunt could be on the move, but at least Nick Chubb, who's one of the top running backs in the league right now. If they can get him going, he wasn't able to get going against New England, and that really, really sunk Cleveland's offense, put a lot more pressure on their defense, which they couldn't hold up. So I think because of that, Cleveland keeps it close. I could see this being a 3 to 6 point win for Baltimore. Maybe it even comes down to a Tucker game winning field goal, but I'm taking Cleveland plus 6.5, but I do think the Ravens win this game. Next, Jets, Broncos. This is kind of more along the lines of I'll take the Jets -1. Jets, just like the Giants, have been really impressive this season. Robert Saleh has done a lot of great things with that team. I don't like this whole Elijah Moore asking for a trade when your team's 4-2. The Jets haven't. I feel like New York hasn't really gotten behind their Jets team like this since probably the um, Mark Sanchez AFC Championship team. And now, where it looks like the Jets is set for success, could maybe make a sneaky run at a wild card spot. And now for Elijah Moore to want a trade because he doesn't feel like he's being used correctly or used enough, that can be a little troubling for a young, unproven team. But the Broncos, who I've been advocating on here for a while for people to chill out with all the maybe hate or you know wanting to jump off the Broncos bandwagon so quickly, but I really can't find ways to defend him anymore. Russell Wilson's going into this week. I think his hamstring injury might be a little bit worse than we think. He may not even play this weekend. I think Hackett said it's gonna be a game time decision. If he doesn't play, it's gonna be Brett Rippon who'd be quarterback, and if that happens, I mean this 1 point spread is gonna look like a guarantee if you're into that betting and all that. Um, but yeah, I think the Jets win this one. Probably either if it's Russell Wilson or Brett Rippon. To be honest with you, the offense still is a mess. I think Hackett's decision making still a mess. I think the confidence in Wilson with Hackett is shattered right now. The confidence in the wide receivers and running backs with Wilson is messed up right now. So the Broncos are a team that's in turmoil, and we're starting to see the frustration on the field more and more week by week. I think the Jets take advantage of that and take care of the Broncos. I have no problems picking this, so I'm going with the Jets -1. And I'm a Patriots fan, and the fact I have to speak highly of the Jets, it kills me inside. But keeping it, hey, I'm keeping it 100 with you guys. So let's go to the next game. We got Texans Raiders. I'm going to go with the Texans +7 here. I mean, these are two teams that haven't really shown me anything. I mean, of course, you'd be more disappointed in the Raiders because there's a lot of hype behind the Raiders coming into this season. They acquired Devontae Adams, Derek Carr, they had Josh McDaniels come on. A lot of reasons to be excited, but it just hasn't happened. You know, Adams been kind of up and down. I think Waller's been kind of banged up, and especially coming off of the fact that what they just re-signed Waller in the offseason, not looking too good right now. This is one of those things where I have a weird feeling about this game. I do like Damian Pierce on the Texans, and I think that this is a game where maybe he's he has a great impact on the game, and maybe he goes for a big game on the ground, which takes pressure off Davis Mills, of course. But I don't know. This one is still a tough game anyway. I'm still gonna stick with the Texans, but as I was kind of breaking it down just then, in my mind, I was kind of thinking maybe the Raiders get this one, but I'll stick with Texans. And I will just say that I believe the Texans defense isn't actually that bad. A lot of the issues for them have been offensively, but I think as they trust Damian Pierce more and more, I think their offense could, at least get up to a level where now they can start winning some of these games against, teams that are also struggling. So give me the Texans this one plus the 7. Next, Chargers, Seahawks. I'm taking the Chargers -5. Um, I believe there's no Keenan Allen. We've seen the effect that's had on this Chargers offense so far. But and not to take anything away from the Seahawks, Geno Smith has definitely surprised a lot of people around the league. The Seahawks as well have played really well. They're what 3-3, Chargers 4-2, by the way. But a lot of people didn't see the Seahawks being 3-3 at this point. So the Seahawks are definitely playing on house money. The Chargers at 4-2 have not looked that impressive as you would think a 4-2 team would look. So I do think the Chargers need a good performance out of Herbert, Eckler. They need to figure out the whole J.C. Jackson thing defensively because he was their big ticket item from the offseason, and he's kind of struggled so far, to be honest with you. So without Keenan Allen, of course, it's going to be tough to really judge this team. But well, I think also was it Josh Palmer and Joshua Kelly are going to be out. So that's two more pieces taken away from the offense, but they should be able to, contain Seattle's running attack and get the win here. So give me the Chargers minus the 5. Let's see. I only have a few games left. So Chiefs, Niners. I'm taking the Chiefs minus 2. Once again, this is one I went back and forth on. The Christian McCaffrey deal to the 49ers does make me, you know, almost want to switch to the Niners, but McCaffrey's just going to get there. I don't know how much they're going to use him, how much of the game plan he's going to be involved with. Um, I think once McCaffrey's up to speed, and with him, it's always about health. As long as he's healthy, I think he can become a major part of the Niners offense because now with McCaffrey there, that is less you'll do with Debo Samuels in the backfield, and now you can use him, in the slot, out wide. You can even put him in the backfield a little bit when McCaffrey's maybe not on the field, but you can stick him out of the receiver position and let him just be the great wide receiver that he is, in the league right now, instead of making him this Swiss Army knife that he's been so far, which trust me, that's part of his value, but it'll probably be more beneficial for him to now stick to one position and just excel at that. So I think that's probably McCaffrey's biggest impact to the Niners. And once he gets up to speed, the Niners could be a dangerous team in the NFC. I like the Niners anyway, what they were going with. Wasn't completely sold on the whole decision to make Trey Lance a starter, but I understand why they did it. We didn't even get to see him that much, so I can't really grade Lance at this point. But Garoppolo as a backup, this is the same guy who took him to the NFC Championship game last season. So now throwing McCaffrey, they could. I mean, I'm saying this right now, so mark it down. The Niners with McCaffrey, if they can get him through the season, which also, an interesting thing you have to think about is 49er running backs have really had a hard time staying healthy. That's going to be something to watch. But I'm interested to see how McCaffrey transforms that offense and, you know, what exactly it looks like with him. So I fully believe Kyle Shanahan will put together a game plan that's going to work and, I guess, exploit McCaffrey's talents in a way that maybe now Devo Samuel is even more open to do other things in the offense. Brandon Ayuk, who maybe doesn't get talked about a lot, this McCaffrey move could really benefit those two. If that happens with the defense that the Niners have, look out. The Niners could be a dangerous team second half of the NFL season. Next, Steelers Dolphins. So this is going to be a game a lot of people are going to have their eye on because Tua is coming back for this game, even though I know for me and a couple of people who, once again, I do shows with on the Spotlight Sports Network, talked about that. There's a part of us that really would like to see Tua, retire with the way Miami's handled him, the couple of concussions he had, the one with the seizing up, which was a scary scene to see. But now that he looks like he's gonna be back in the field, I'm gonna want to see, especially against a Steelers team where, and this is something I forgot about. Brian Flores is a defensive coach. I don't know. I don't think he's a defensive coordinator, but I know he's on the defensive staff in Pittsburgh. So he's going to want to prove something, which ultimately could be at the detriment to his health. But I want to see what Miami does offensively to protect Tua. Do they, start the game, maybe run the ball more? Do they go to quick 3-step drop passes in the passing game? That way you limit the amount of time the defense has to get to him and hit him. Then if the play breaks down with to a scramble, if he takes a hit, how's he going to feel after that? So there's going to be a lot of eyes on this game. And ultimately, I'm taking Miami -7. I think this Dolphins offense operates at its best with Tua behind center, but there are definitely some questions coming in as to what he'll look like once the game starts. But, you know, the Steelers have questions of their own. It looks like Pickett's going to start, which I think is good for them. But he's coming out of concussion protocol himself. So we got two guys out of concussion protocol. We'll have to see. Do both guys make it through the game? I, I mean, I don't want to, sit here and comment about possible injuries or anything like that, but we'll be watching, like I said, just to see what Tua looks like. It's on Sunday night, so the whole NFL world will be watching because there's no other game on. But yeah, give me the Dolphins -7 in this game. Now the final game. Here we go. So Monday Night Football, Patriots, Bears. Um, for those of you who are new, I am a Patriots fan. I mean, let that be known. Actually, I mean, all around Boston fan. That's where I'm from. I do live in the Atlanta area now. So just to let you know. So it looks like Mac Jones is going to get started. I guess he's progressing to the point where, you can throw him back out there. He's healthy enough to go. I did like the Bailey Zappi era, as short lived as it was for the Patriots. He was exciting to watch. I do think a lot of this quarterback controversy stuff is a little bit blown out of proportion because, yes, Bailey Zappi had superb games. First start, Green Bay, Lambeau Field, coming in for Brian Hoyer. He, represented himself well. Subsequent games after that played well. But now with people trying to say like, oh, Bailey Zappi's doing more for the offense than Mac Jones could, I'd say pump the brakes on that one because Mac Jones started the season as a starter, of course. But remember back then, the offensive line was not as good as it's playing right now. The weapons offensively at the wide receiver position were different back then. Tyquan Thornton was not playing. And we've just seen in the past couple of weeks, Tyquan Thornton can be a real weapon for the Patriots offense. So I want to see what that looks like. Mac Jones, Ramondre Stevenson, wasn't running the ball as dominant as he is right now. So that's another thing we'll have to see. Even the defense. The defense was pretty good early in the season, but they're playing great right now. So I just say give Mac Jones a couple of weeks now with the team that's currently, constituted in how they're playing. And if they lose games or whatever, then you can fully evaluate Mac Jones versus Bailey Zappi. But if Mac Jones comes in, picks up where Bailey Zappi left off, then Mac Jones is your quarterback. Bailey Zappi can be your backup, and now you have a capable backup, which, as we've seen in today's NFL, you probably need one. Um, so I'm taking, was it Patriots -7.5. The Bears, I mean, I root for Justin Fields, but I saw, body language and all that during that Commanders game last week that I did not like. Like Justin Fields looked like he's getting frustrated, and That's more so a sign on the Bears organization because they've done nothing to really help them. Um, I mean, we know Carolina's getting rid of people. They got rid of Robbie Anderson. DJ Moore is now available. The Bears have crazy amounts of cap space. I don't see why they wouldn't go get DJ Moore. Give Justin Fields somebody to throw to. I don't know. They probably won't do it, and Bears fans will just be frustrated all season. Justin Fields will be frustrated, but the way it's going, I would not be shocked if Fields tries to force his way out of town or something, or I don't know. They're just stunting his growth clearly, and I feel bad for him, to be honest with you. I really do. Um, well, yeah, those are the games. Oh yeah, so then your teams on the bye week: Bills, Rams, Vikings, and the Eagles, which definitely has to make it interesting for fantasy football players like myself because those are guys that, you know, you're talking about Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts not playing this week, no Cooper Cup, Matt Stafford, if any of you still, had him on your fantasy team, no Kirk Cousins, no Thielen, Jefferson. So a lot of big names that are off this week. So fantasy football is going to be interesting. The waiver wire was probably popping this week. So I mean, I know I had to make a couple of moves on my teams, so I'm right there with you. But before, of course, get out of here, just to remind you that you can check me out, Spotlight Sports Network podcast. That's name of the network there. Facebook, YouTube, Tuesday nights 7 p.m., Thursday nights 7 p.m. And there's also audio versions of those podcasts. Big Three Podcast Tuesday, pregame pigskin on Thursday. There'll be audio versions of those on Spotify and all your places as well. Usually the day after. Um, what else? What else? What else? Oh, I'm also dipping into some like sports writing on that network as well. So if you, well, not if you, but when you go over to the Facebook page and follow or the YouTube channel, well, I guess the articles will be more for the Facebook side, but I'm doing sports writing on there as well. So, trying to branch out and do other things. Then Friday nights, I do a show on JJL Sports Talk Show, and that is 8 p.m. Friday nights. You know, have a really good time both places, as well as on this show, of course, because this is my baby. But the Friday night show, really good time. So check that out as well. Support me over there as well as Spotlight Sports Network. But of course, after you hit subscribe or follow here on Chomp at the Bit. And yeah, they pretty much got you all covered. I'm gonna try to, at least for the next couple of weeks or so, give you an episode each day, maybe even a couple of days, certain days. I'm not gonna commit to a couple of day every day. All right, not gonna do that, but really appreciate you guys, and seems like getting a little bit more interaction with you guys as you tune in. I really do appreciate that. Um, I mean, the name slips me, but I know that I had a comment on last video, and really did appreciate because person was like, keep grinding and all that, and I'm definitely gonna do that because have fun doing this, both here and the Spotlight Sports and JJL Sports Talk Show. I just like talking sports, so as many ways as I can get myself out there, I'm gonna try to do it. So thank you guys again, and be safe out there. You know, God bless, and I'll catch you in the next episode. All right, I'm out. Have a good one, guys.